Boris. Angelina had been doing some research, and Boris had caught her at it. Now, he's holding her prisoner, and... does he want to lure me to him? In Maine, he wanted to take me on a journey. Is this all about me? Whatever the reason for all this might be, Angelina doesn't have anything to do with it. She's got into danger because she wanted to help me. It's my fault if something happens to her. I ought to go into the village and listen around. Angelina was there. But I need to be careful. I don't know who might belong to this order that Angelina warned me about.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so at least we know now there is a sect going about. Great. Small town village. And a sect. And a creepy old castle that's supposedly cursed, and... yeah, sound great. Just what you want, right? So can we actually leave now? We should be able to. Oh, hello. No need to drop your shit, woman.
We all know that old one.
What do you mean?
A young, attractive lady is carrying a stack of books and lets them fall at the feet of the hero.
Excuse me? I'm the librarian here, so it's quite right that I should be carrying books around the place. Young? Attractive? Well, I'll accept that. But why do you consider yourself to be a hero?
Because he's in a game.
You're the librarian? Oh, then you can definitely tell me something worth knowing about this place, Miss,
Valley.
Valley?
You're American?
Alright.
Darren Michaels. Do I really sound
Yes.
American?
Oh yes. Now let me see. Your accent is non-rhotic. That is, you don't sound the phoneme R at the end of a syllable, or before consonants. And you have hard A sounds. That's the famous Boston accent.
Awesome! I really do come from Boston.
I've spent half my life in books, so something has to have stuck.
So then you can probably tell a damn Yankee something about Willow Creek?
What do you want to know?
About that sect. You know, that investigator guy who's kidnapping people. You know, usual stuff. Let's start with the sanitarium, I guess.
I'm staying at the Gordon's Palace Hotel.
Really? You're letting yourself get ripped off by that old so-and-so Murray?
The building is supposed to have had a terrible past.
That's true.
It would seem that all of the male Gordons were a little bit crazy.
The curse of the Gordons.
Please don't tell me you believe in all that hokum.
I never used to.
You English. You like your ghost stories and all that a little too much.
Okay, were you just going to sit down for this, or...?
That's the obligatory village pub. It never was a great place, but since the old landlord left, it really has gone downhill. The new landlord is Tom, the chap at the chili stall.
Great.
The fair will be here for a few more days yet, but I wouldn't bet that it'll be coming back again.
Great to know, great to know. Well, Willow Creek in general.
Well, is there anything about Willow Creek that's worth knowing?
Not a lot. There must have been a settlement there for a good 1,000 years or so. They found remains dating back that far.
Yeah, a stone circle in a forest. So I've heard.
Yes, there's one of those. It really only kind of got going around the 13th century when there was a monastery built in the neighborhood. Also a church and the first part of a castle.
And more recently?
You're talking about the murders. That's 12 years ago now. Let's not talk about those.
I must say, quite a likable character she is.
Back there by the town hall is my empire, the library. Perhaps it's because there's otherwise so little going on here. There are plenty of people who like to and who do read a lot. Sadly, often all the wrong things. Trashy stuff and the cheapest pulp lit are in high demand.
Alright, so finally, Black Mirror.
The castle nearby, isn't that the famous Black Mirror castle?
It certainly is. Its inhabitants have influenced things around here for centuries. Sometimes for the good, sometimes rather more negatively.
How do you mean that?
Everything around here belongs to the Gordons. In the old days, virtually everything that went on here was all decided in the castle. Just what could happen in the village, and what could not.
And who lives in the castle today?
Lady Victoria Gordon, the last of the Gordons, her old butler Bates, and her late brother's widow, Lady Eleanor. I think there are a few other servants too.
Not many people for a giant castle then. I imagine it isn't small at least. A museum. Great.
That's the museum. If you want to know more about Willow Creek, then that's the place to be. At least in the front bit.
What's in the back?
The newly opened Black Museum. Cheap special effects animation. Horror and titillation at others' expense.
Alrighty. Ooh, so we can actually ask more about the museum and the Order. Now the Order sounds like it's going to be very interesting. So let's do the museum first.
What's wrong with the Black Museum? Why should you get so wound up about it?
It's not about informing people. Nothing to do with knowledge. It's about putting blood and suffering on display.
I'm afraid that's what folks are interested in.
Because they want to gawk. These are the same people who would rather photograph an accident than help out. They don't share in any of the misfortunes of those behind the spectacle.
That's people for you. So, the Order.
Can you help me with the symbol? A tree where the roots reach around and up into the branches. That mean anything to you?
Where do you know that from?
You know something
Cleo.
about it?
You ought to forget about it again as soon as possible.
I stumbled across it in Maine, and now I'd like to know if it...
Maine? You come... But you said Boston. I've still got something
she
to
definitely
finish.
knows more.
Good day.
Okay, not like...
Miss Valley, listen!
Well, that was the most suspicious thing I've come across.
And she's gone. What was that all about?
So... either she is A member of the Order, and we've totally just fucked ourselves over just now, or B, she knows of the Order, she knows how dangerous they are, and therefore she's avoiding the subject until we later, you know, are in some non-public place where we can discuss it. I'm actually guessing B, but you know. Right, let's have a look here. Library's behind there, museum sign, rain barrel. Well, let's go to the museum first, after examining.
Willow Creek Museum. That sign must have cost the townsfolk quite a bit. A big barrel. It's supposed to collect rainwater. Although it's always raining here, that barrel is
Where's
almost
the water
empty.
go?
Seems to have a leak somewhere. Although it's always seems to have a leak.
Is that important somehow? I don't know. Let's go in the museum.
The flight was supposed to be cheap, but the airport is in the middle of nowhere. The taxi here was more expensive than a private jet.
Calm down, Albert.
And on top of that, your friend's guidebook is totally out of date.
You were happy that we didn't have to buy one. No one could have guessed that so much would change here within a few years.
Yeah. Just shut up, okay?
Great. We're not the only tourists, I guess. Hello, Bobby.
A god. He looks a bit
A
simple-minded.
bit.
Hi. Are you the god here?
Oh, hello. My name is Bobby.
Oh, hello, Bobby. I'm Darren.
Hi, Darren.
Oh my god, really? Really? Right, let's ask about the museum, I guess. It's going to be interesting.